Kansas Speedway, here to give the command to fire engines. Please welcome Procter & Gamble Advanced Team Leader, Sean Gallup.
On behalf of Tide and Menards, drivers, start your engines.
Nine cars come to life in what will be the 34th ARCA Menards Series race at Kansas Speedway. The green flag to the Tide 150 coming up next. Cars begin to roll off as we anticipate the start of the third race of the 2026 ARCA Menards Series season, the Tide 150, here at the Kansas Speedway. The Sioux Chief Power Pex Pole Award was given to Jack Wood in the Pinnacle Racing Group number 28 after heavy rains washed out the qualifying effort that was scheduled yesterday afternoon. By virtue of the ARCA Menards Series rulebook, it will be that PRG number 28 that went to victory lane with Carson Brown at Phoenix last time out on the pole, with Jack Wood holding the steering wheel. Now let's take a look at our Tide 150 starting grid. And as we mentioned, two of the most dominant cars in the ARCA Menards Series in recent history are going to make up that front row, with Jack Wood on the pole looking for ARCA win number 1 of his career, and Gio Ruggiero in the Joe Gibbs 18 looking for his second win of the season.
Well, you don't have to look far for the points leader in the ARCA Menards Series, Jake Bowman, starting on row 2 next to Laney Bice.
Gavin Boschel will make his first ever mile-and-a-half start back there in row number 3, along with our former winner here in the ARCA Series, Thomas Annunziata.
Back on row number 4, driver who comes into the championship standing second in points, Jason Kitzmiller, and Isabella Robusto, former pole winner here at the Kansas Speedway. Won that pole here back in 2024. Now we'll take a look at the rest of our starting grid here, including Craig Pellegrini Jr., former dirt modified racer, making his ARCA National debut outside of row 6.
As we go further through the field, a lot more drivers. We talked about Squirrel McNutt earlier. We've got Bobby Dale Earnhardt. A lot of great drivers here through this field.
There's Cleetus back in row number 13. A long way to go, and really excited to see Destiny Spurlock done a nice job this year at Hickory and Rockingham, making her first ever National Series start. Hey Cleetus, Phil Parsons and the guys up in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
I got you guys.
All right, buddy. First time at Kansas Speedway, one of the racetracks we think is one of the very best on the circuit. What are your first impressions of Kansas Speedway after your 4-hour test yesterday?
Brother, she's fast, real fast. Learning to use that side force. It's action.
Well, Cleetus, it's Austin Cindric. I'm excited to watch some of that action. First part of all of this, we see you're starting behind your friend Squirrel McNutt. How many laps? How many laps are going to take for you to pass him?
Oh, man, I don't know. We talked about mission number 1 being not to run into each other, so I have no idea, but I'm going to be careful when I go by him.
All right, copy that. We'll have fun today. Enjoy.
Thanks, guys. I mean, it's the baldeagle.com car. I'm going to be flying like a bald eagle out here.
There you have it.
Going to be fun watching that bald eagle come from 25th starting spot on the grid here. Let's take a look at our race analysis. 150 miles here at Kansas.
Yeah, 100 laps. We're going to have a scheduled race break around lap number 50 where the teams will be able to come down pit road. We're also going to have a competition caution because of all the rain you were talking about, washed all the rubber off this racetrack on or near lap number 20 to give these drivers and teams an extra chance to come down and make adjustments.
Let's get some late-breaking stories from pit lane. We'll toss it down to Caitlin.
Well, you guys talked about the fact the weather canceled that qualifying session. So Destiny Spurlock, one of the drivers, starting in the back of the field, but she told me just moments ago that she welcomes that challenge. She said, that's why I'm here, is to learn as much as possible. But she told me it was always a huge goal of her to transition over to the sport of NASCAR from where she typically races with motorcycle and drag racing. But she also told me that one driver who's helped her a lot so far making this transition is LeVar Scott. She said he's almost become a little brother to me and has been very helpful for her learning NASCAR. Amanda.
Yeah, Caitlin, you're going to take a look at the 25 of Gavin Boschel. He's making a second national start here in ARCA, but it's his first on a mile-and-a-half. He turned 18 in February, but he told me his biggest mentor has been his father, who was a college football player. Chris Boschel is here this weekend with us. He says he gets the advice from his dad that says, work hard, be the best you can be, and don't quit. I talked to Gavin about his start in racing. He said he started racing at Millbridge in North Carolina at 3.5, and he doesn't remember his life without it.
Thank you both. Gavin is going to be looking for success from the 5th starting spot here today after starting with his team up in the top 5 in the East race at Rockingham before a right front tire put him into the wall before halfway.
We talked about the 2 monster teams of the 28 of PRG and the 18 of Joe Gibbs. Well, Nitro Motorsports is certainly well represented, Gavin Boschel being one of the drivers for Nitro Motorsports.
So we still got a little bit more than a lap before we drop the green flag to kick off this 3rd race of the season. And gentlemen, we've been talking about the impact that the weather has had, and not just in terms of the rain that came in last night, but the temperature shift that we highlighted. This track is still baking in sunlight right now, but it is chilly out there and a big challenge for all these race teams and drivers.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's going to change quickly. You know, Kansas is a racetrack that typically takes rubber quite quickly, and when you do lay that rubber down, it moves the groove around. And what drivers, and we alluded to this earlier, what drivers really love about this racetrack is that it's multiple grooves because of the progressive banking, and it's fun to be able to move around. But that rubber getting laid down quickly is going to influence what grooves on this racetrack are going to be preferred. But I think on top of that, the qualifying being canceled, this field being a bit jumbled up, but also at the same time having probably what you would argue would be 2 of the fastest cars at the front of the field. They're going to be putting on a rapid pace to start the race and be putting cars laps down in the first 20 laps here.
So we're less than a lap from the green flag now. Let's take a look at our Bounty Rookie Spotlight driver on the day, making her first 1.5 mile start of her ARCA Menards Series career, Jade Avedissian in the Nitro Motorsports number 15.
Yeah, a lot of talent with this young lady. She actually won a super late model race at New Smyrna during the World Series of Asphalt Racing. And you beat a field of those super late model drivers. You're doing something. A lot of talent here.
She's one of the great up-and-comers, and it's funny to watch some of the races and see her in the commercials. And now she's out really experiencing one of the first challenges. I feel like stepping up from the grassroots is to be able to go and race on tracks this big, this fast. Not that it's a challenge you can't do, but you got to start somewhere, and ARCA Menards Series is a place to do that.
See, first female driver to win a Cars Tour Pro Late Model race, did that last year. She's one of a few drivers in the field trying to be the first woman to win in the ARCA Menards Series in its series history. So half a lap from the green flag. As we mentioned earlier, we can expect a competition caution on or around lap 20, and then the one and only controlled pit stop race break will be on or around lap 50 as well. So a bit of a chance for these race teams to see what the track is going to be like early.
And remember, non-competitive pit stops. How you come down pit road is how you go off pit road, and we'll restart the race. Again, if you choose to stay out, then you start in front of those cars that come down pit road on every single caution flag.
So Jack Wood and Gio Ruggiero going to make up the front row with points leader Jake Bowman in the 20 inside of row 2. Laney Bice in the 77 up top on the top side starting in 4th. Pace car is off. Our first of 2 stops at the Kansas Speedway in 2026 is about to get underway. Jack Wood brings us down for the start, and the Tide 150 is off and running from Kansas Speedway.
Jack Wood able to get a jump off the front row there, easily clear into turn 1. Meanwhile, racing for P2 is Bowman and Gio Ruggiero side by side as the field's really spread out after the first top 10 cars.
Yeah, pretty sanitary start, though. I didn't see any tire spin or anything from any of the front runners.
And that battle for second continues as now Ruggiero charges up to the outside to solidify himself in second spot. Joining him up on the top side is the 70 of Thomas Annunziata, who goes to 5th, while Wood will lead the opening lap.
You see those drivers drop down onto that apron, and it's totally inbounds to be able to race under that white line. And those guys are just trying to take out track distance as they're chasing Jack Wood through the first lap here.
A couple of cars already venturing up to that second lane here early in the going. Most recently, we saw Laney Bice trying the top side. As here's a look at Jason Kitzmiller and Gavin Boschel, 97 and 25, battling for 8th.
Yeah, Kitzmiller comes in here second in points. Top 5 in points last year in the ARCA Menards Series, running full-time again this year.
Right now, Kitzmiller will take that spot, which will be 7th. Michelle falling back in line just behind him as Wood continues to lead, but the gap is starting to close towards the front of the field. And here's Daniel Dye making a move on Andy Jankowiak a little bit further back.
Yeah, Daniel Dye was one of the fastest cars we saw in that 4-hour test yesterday, but because of having to fall back on last year's points, that's why he started way back just inside the top 20.
And Dye has charged up through the field, already gained 9 spots to start this race after starting further back in the field.
Battle for the lead getting a lot closer with Gio Ruggiero pulling up to the back of Jack Wood, and it's kind of maintain that one car length lead. And as these drivers are searching for this grip on the bottom of the racetrack, it seems like Gio has the advantage here early.
We talked about Gio winning that race at Daytona. Jack Wood had a strong race at Daytona as well. Got shuffled out a little bit as we see a good side-by-side battle here continue between Boschel and Kitzmiller.
And look who's starting to reel them in as well. Daniel Dye, and that charge from towards the back of the field wants some more, and he is catching these two who continue to run side by side rather quickly, with Kitzmiller still committed to the top lane, Boschel on the bottom.
When you're in Daniel Dye's position, you're trying to figure out what lane to pick. You know, you don't want to be following directly behind as he makes a dart down to make it 3 wide going to turn 3. This is where you got to listen to your spotter, and these guys are all playing pretty nice here to start the race. Ton of laps left, 3 wide into turn 3 early, and Jack Wood's going to try and fight the position.
And that's one thing about this series too, Austin, as you well know. This is a little bit of a transient series. You don't see a lot of the drivers all the time, so Daniel Dye probably has never really hardly raced against Gavin Boschel. He wasn't sure if Gavin was going to come down and take his line away or not, so great move by him to back off.
No, and we talk about this track getting wider and wider as we see still the fight goes on between Daniel Dye and Jason Kitzmiller. You saw in the background there, you know, Jade was already running, you know, up above the top seam where you see a lot of the cars run later in the race. This track's getting wide pretty early.
How about some of our biggest movers in the race so far? Destiny Spurlock in her ARCA Menards Series national debut, plus 13 on the grid. We talked about Daniel Dye. Jade Avedissian's charged up to the top 10, and Cleetus McFarlane has also gained more than 10 spots in these opening 7 laps. Right now, McFarlane is up to 14th on the grid. Avedissian just got herself another one as she now has joined the battle between Boschel, her teammate in the Nitro Motorsports 25, and Kitzmiller as Avedissian gets a little tight on corner exit.
She actually lost a clutch during that practice session yesterday, so that we had a 4-hour test session in the morning. That's really, other than Daytona, the only test that these ARCA Menards teams will get all year long. She lost a clutch, so she lost some of that practice time, but looks like she has a fast car.
Oh, and you see, as Eric pointed out, she kind of lost the nose, got tight off of turn 4, and that was 100% for being in a tight aero spot and being able to, you know, manage that air. Meanwhile, the leaders have caught lap traffic here, cars that are quite a bit slower than Jack Wood and Gio Ruggiero going, and I think this is going to be a factor here for the first, you know, at least the next 10 laps before that we expect that competition caution to come out.
Working our way around Brayton Laster in the Peterson Motorsport 06, to 12 at Takuma Koga, who's been running all the national races so far this season. And now coming up on the outside of what was a tight squeeze for Jack Wood on the 01 of DL Wilson, making his ARCA Menards return.
Gio ran this 18 car in the second race here last year at Kansas, finished second to that 28 car, driven by Butterbean. As you mentioned, Butterbean swept both races here at Kansas last year.
Bowman running in third, Laney Bice fourth, Thomas and Annunziata, your top 5. 10 laps in to the Tide 150 for the ARCA Menards Series at Kansas Speedway. Jack Wood has led all the way up to this point. Welcome back to the Tide 150 here at Kansas Speedway. Jack Wood continues to lead from the pole with Gio Ruggiero and Jake Bowman rounding out your front 3. Wood started on the pole for the Pinnacle Racing Group after qualifying got washed out. One of 3 women drivers currently in the top 10 in this race so far. Isabella Robusto looking to finally get a good run to get her 2026 rolling.
Yeah, we talked to her at Daytona. She said, I just don't want to have to start to the year like I did last year, 2025. 4 of the top 5, 4 of the first 5 races she had trouble in. And sure enough, she's already had trouble in the first 2 races this year. The 3rd race last year was at Talladega, and she finished 3rd, the highest finish ever for a woman at Talladega. And this year, Talladega and Kansas flip-flop. She's looking for a good run here to get her season on track, as you mentioned, Eric.
This is a track where she's got some confidence. Remember, won the pole here back in 2024. For more on Isabella, let's go to Caitlin.
Yeah, guys, I actually had a chance to talk with Isabella about her season so far just before the race, and she said, I feel like we've been fast, but we just need to execute better, both on the driver and the team side. She said yesterday in practice, they tried a lot of different things. Some worked, some didn't. She felt like the weather today was going to be a challenge, obviously, but in the interim, she spent a lot of time with her crew chief, Glenn Parker. She feels like the two of them have really been aligning. Glenn's actually known Isabella since she was 11 years old, working on her Legend Car program, but she said their communication has been really good so far at the shop. And right now, though, she's saying way too tight in the front on that 55.
Thanks, Caitlin. We saw Daniel Dye getting up to 3rd around Jake Bowman, and Dye's car has been on a rail so far today.
Yeah, he was the fastest car on the racetrack that last lap with that pass.
Yeah, and he's been putting on quite the show. Watch this. This was a battle up inside the top 5. That's actually him charging up through the field. This is getting around Andy Jankowiak earlier for a spot in the top 10. And the charge just continued on and on and on. This is the move that he just put on the points leader, Jake Bowman, to get up into that podium spot. Now he's about 5 seconds off the leaders, but that's not going to stay that way for much longer, as we expect the competition caution to fly momentarily after the heavy rains washed all the rubber off the track yesterday.
Yeah, I was talking to Daniel in the garage area yesterday, and really excited about this car, this team, and he's actually going to run the race at Talladega next week as well.
So Dye, the biggest mover in the field by far, plus 16 spots. Second in line, Jade Avedissian in her intermediate ARCA debut, up to 7th. Picked up 14 positions from her starting position.
Daniel Dye's fastest car on the racetrack, but just as fast as the leaders of the race right now is Jade Avedissian. She's putting on a great pace, and I think whether if it's her, Daniel Dye, you know, the cars that are cutting up through the field, but also maybe the cars that have been a bit stagnant, I think this caution will be welcome to a lot of them to maybe make some of those adjustments.
So Jack Wood's lead now just over 1 second as he works his way around Michael Maples in the number 99. And there will be the competition caution.
And remember, this is you're not required to come down pit road, but the teams do have an extra set of tires because of the lack of practice yesterday afternoon. They do have 3 sets of tires sitting on pit road, so they could come down pit road, put a set of tires on, still have another set for that mid-race break if they choose to use it, and then another emergency set towards the end of the race if you get a late caution.
So what, Phil, what I like about this is that it's going to get the field a lot closer, and we can get to some racing. It was definitely spread out there with the start being the way it was, and no qualifying, the field being spread out. So if you're Jack Wood, you like the lead that you had, but we're gonna enjoy a nice finish.
ARCA Menards Series Racing on FS1 is brought to you by General Tire, hashtag GT Delivers, and by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. And as we can see, some of the front runners are electing to come down. For more, let's go to Caitlin.
Yeah, taking a look at Jack Wood in that 28. Just checked in with his crew chief, Stephen Dawson. He told me the main feedback that he's given is it's a little edgy and free, so they're going to go ahead and give him 4 tires here for the 2.8. Amanda.
In talking to Doug George, the crew chief for Jake Bowman earlier today, he said their goal was just to not overthink the racetrack. Jake was saying that he's feeling free out there. They're going to do a track bar adjustment and a little air pressure. And then for Gio Ruggiero, he was telling his crew chief, Matt Ross, that he's tight into 1 but loose on 3. I snuck by to talk to Ross and to Matt and ask if that could be anything from the change of direction of the wind. He said exactly that.
That's a good point, Amanda. The wind here has been very unpredictable. Not surprising for Kansas standards, but also a challenge for some of these race teams.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge all day for everyone. As you see, Daniel Dye, obviously they're very confident in their race car to be able to stay out on those little tires. He was the fastest car of that entire run, so it should be interesting to have a gauge now of what the difference in tire life is going to mean for these drivers.
Yeah, there wasn't a tremendous amount of fall off on those tires, but there should be a little bit of speed in those tires. And remember, everybody that stayed on the racetrack, Jake Bowman, several cars stayed on the racetrack, they will retain their positions. The ones that came down pit road will line up as they came onto pit road behind those cars.
So Daniel Dye elected to stay out, as did our ARCA Menards Series points leader Jake Bowman, as well as a handful of Nitro Motorsports team cars. Gavin Bichelle scored 3rd. Jade Avedissian continues her charge up through the field. Andy Jankowiak also elected to stay out. Now, speaking of tomorrow's Cup Series event, what an electric finish that we had at Bristol last week with Ty Gibbs, but he joins a pretty illustrious list, Phil.
Yeah, led by my brother Benny, ARCA champion back in 1968 and 1969. And then 1970 at South Boston, Virginia was his first Cup win.
It was really cool to see Ty win last week. Just a guy that kind of both of us came up around the same time, and in the Riley Series up to the Cup Series. So always good to see guys that you raced hard with and made it up through the ranks together, like Chase and Ty, and see those guys get the first win. Long overdue for him, for sure.
Boy, Ty's had a tremendous start to the season.
Absolutely.
He's been solid week in, week out, had piling up the top 5 finishes. We figured when he first came in the Cup Series it was a matter of time, but it took a lot longer, I think, than most of us thought for him to go to victory lane, but no surprise this year.
Now he's got momentum on his side going into tomorrow's Advent Health 400 that you can see on Fox. And speaking of the win last week, how about how dramatic the end of this race was with a late race caution, a couple drivers on varying tire strategies, just like what we have here. And this is how it all went down.
Yeah, your teammate Ryan Blaney was fast like he is most every week in that 12 car.
And here's the charge to the checkers. Blaney gave it all he had, but he came up a half a car length short. And the celebration for a first career win for Ty Gibbs at Bristol, bringing all that momentum here into the Heartland.
Those are the days, those first wins you'll never forget. His first one was the Daytona 500, so certainly not going to forget that.
But, but a photo finish at Bristol, nice clean finish. That's, yeah, I'd say that ranks pretty highly, I would say.
All right, before we get ready to restart this race, we're going to go back down to Caitlin Vinci.
Yeah, guys, well, we saw the 28 lost some time there on pit road, and I just talked to the team to find out what happened. They said there was an issue with the right rear gun. They had a malfunction. They're not sure what's wrong with it, so they weren't able to recover quick enough to change 4 tires, which is why they only ended up changing 2. Eric?
Unique circumstance and another variable to how this race is going to restart. And you can see some of the frustration there amongst the Pinnacle Racing Group team. And Jack Wood may be at a bit of a disadvantage compared to the cars that he came down with in terms of fresh rubber. Yeah, but no, we know we're going to have a caution on 20-some more laps, so that I think they'll be fine. Maybe he may not be able to advance like he would have, but and that's one of the reasons that we have these non-competitive pit stops, is because those aren't the guys that you'll see pitting Austin's car on Sunday. These are guys that work in the shop or whatever, because you have plenty of time to get it done. But when you have a malfunction like that, that's a different story. So the top 5 cars stayed out. Jack Wood, who led all the way up to the competition caution with those 2 right side tires, will restart 6. Everyone behind them came down to put on the 4 fresh rubbers. Here we go with Daniel Dye leading us back to the restart.
Definitely a much tighter race start than we had for the beginning of the race. See Gio putting a 3 wide already, trying to take advantage of those 4 new tires.
How about 4 wide in 1 and 2? And that's a lot of Nitro Motorsports cars packed together as they come off the second turn. What great racing here. Gio's going to slot in the 4th spot. Daniel Dye's doing a nice block there, trying to hold off Jack Wood, ironically, with those 2 tires.
Well, Jack Wood able to hold on to that position on the bottom of the racetrack, work those 2 tires, but Daniel Dye put in a good restart, getting clear and trying to take advantage of that clean air with that fast race car.
Battle for third continues to rage on. Jack Wood on the bottom in the 28 gets a little bit loose on the inside lane. Gio surges back forward to solidify himself in third, and look at the run he's got off to, going after Jake Bowman.
Here's where you got to make a decision. What lane do you want to run? Are you going to follow him all the way down to the bottom, feel like you can cover that line better than he can, or run different lanes? You see all 3 lanes are pretty much clean and in for these drivers to use with this green racetrack. You see Annunziata all the way up there in that 3rd lane, being able to work that top seam, and that's what you're going to see. You're going to have to make decisions in traffic. What lane are you going to do? And it's usually a game time decision right as you turn into the corner sometimes when you're that close, racing that tight.
And I like what Jake Bowman did. He robbed the air off of Gio's car. Gio followed him down in the corner, wasn't able to do anything with him.
Here's Bichelle working to the outside of the 15 of Jade Avedissian. Pair of teammates battling for this spot right now for 6. Here's what happened amongst those cars on the restart going into turn 1.
Watch that blue and white car in the middle, Jade Avedissian. That's her teammate, Gavin Bochelle. Just a little bit of touch there entering turn number 1 as we were talking about that 4 wide battle.
Yeah, it's well held by all. That's 3 cars in 2 lanes, and we're still 4 wide there, and all drivers make it out on the other side. Happy days.
And those Nitro Motorsports cars continue to run 5th, 6th, and 7th, respectively, with the team car Jake Bowman up in 3rd, but not for long. Here's Jack Wood making a move in 3.
Yeah, Jack's not struggling very much with only those 2 tires. Again, these cool track conditions help that situation.
Absolutely. You saw a great example of the lane differences in this racetrack, being able to run up, being able to run low. Both of those cars entered with the same gap, run 2 completely different lanes, and exited with the same gap. It's why we love racing here. As you see, Bowman trying out that middle groove, and Jack Wood just trying to figure out what to do. As we got a caution here with the car slow on the front straightaway.
Got a car off the pace, and it is Robbie Keneally in the number 11 car that appears to have had some sort of mechanical problem as he rolled to a stop, only about 100 feet past the start-finish line. And on this caution, the free pass goes to our buddy Squirrel McNutt.
Love that. Puts him up into the 16th position. Heat Wave sunglasses. I met the fellas that came from Heat Wave all the way from California here to support Squirrel McNutt, and he's doing a nice job here. Again, he has so little experience. He ran the East race at Hickory, did a good job, finished in the top 10, ran Rockingham, did a good job, and here he is on a 1.5 miles, and hoping to be able to run Talladega next week.
And the good thing is he's been able to stay out of trouble as he continues to rep the brand of Be Like Biff, talking about good friend Greg Biffle as well, along with his friend Cleetus McFarland. So Squirrel is back on the lead lap. The ARCA Menards Series points leader Jake Bowman currently running 4th. For more, here's Amanda.
And Eric, Doug George told us ahead of the race to not outthink the track, and you decided to keep Jake out there for that competition caution, but he was saying he's feeling free out there. What made the decision to leave him out?
Well, we didn't want to lose a bunch of track position, although, we'll see how this filters out here. We're going to be about probably 12 laps to go in this segment. He feels like it's not that bad. It's like a 1 free, but, with these guys, it's in traffic, it gets pretty tough. But he's doing a good job, and we'll hang tough, and we'll get it fixed up, and we still got like 2 sets of tires, so I think we're going to be all right.
Thank you, Doug. And Caitlin, yeah, he was already getting the team prepared for that track bar adjustment and air pressure for when Jake comes in.
Well, thank you, Amanda. There's a number of NASCAR stars mingling down here on pit lane watching this race. Raja Caruth, one of them. What have you learned so far watching this event?
Well, Caitlin, it's cold, very cold and windy here in Kansas City. But yeah, I love coming out here watching the ARCA Series, trying to provide any support I can to some of the Chevrolet drivers and people that I was teammates with at Rev Racing over the years and that are in the WISE optimization program as well. So hopefully everybody has a good race today. I don't know what I can really learn for tonight besides it's cold and windy, but love being at the racetrack and watching these competitors go out there and drive, and hope everybody stays warm. It's very cold, very, very cold.
Try and stay warm. Good to see you, and good luck tonight, guys.
Thanks, Caitlin. And, Austin, I feel like your team is going to be in a similar spot. It's not going to be as cold tomorrow. We're looking around 70s. Right now, I mean, from yesterday and today, we're about to flip back the other way between this afternoon or this evening and tomorrow.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of guesswork involved in that. What do you think? I even had some O'Reilly Series, engineers and crew chiefs texting me this week. What do you think it's going to be like in a night race? Well, it's going to be cold, this and that. There's a lot of assumptions, and it's not as calculated as you like it to be.
Well, we'll see how this impacts, or how the continuing weather changes impacts the remainder of this race. We'll come on back for the restart of the Tide 150 right after this. ARCA Menards Series Racing on FS1 is brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards. And by Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. Still under caution in the Tide 150, the third race of the 2026 ARCA Menards Series season, with Daniel Dye out front here at our first intermediate track of 2026, where we're going to get set to go back to a super speedway next week.
Fast, built for speed, what that place was. So much fun there.
After Talladega, we're then going to go to a road course for the first time in 2026 for a Friday afternoon race up at Watkins Glen.
Austin, one of the finest road courses in all of America.
I agree. It's one of the fastest, too. I know we're talking about fast racetracks, but that's one of them.
And then we go to Toledo Speedway, which has served as the season finale for several years, now planted in the May portion of the calendar. That'll be on May 16th. Following that will be Michigan International Speedway on June 5th. And Pocono, the ARCA's well-anticipated return to Pocono on June 12th.
Yeah, we talk about the diversity of this schedule. Probably no more series diverse anywhere else in the country like the ARCA Series. We'll have a couple dirt races later on in the year as well.
Hard to believe that a track like Kansas, the intermediates, is actually in the minority of the types of tracks that we run, with so many short tracks on the calendar as well. You don't have to go very far to get what you need at Menards, right across the street from the Kansas Speedway.
Big money at that place too, man. I tell you what, on a cold day, they got everything. You get you girls some gloves down there on pit road too.
They shouldn't have to share a pair of gloves.
They've got everything there, man. We could get them a gift card or something.
You could probably handle a gift card.
I know a guy. I know a guy.
Okay.
Let's
I might
watch
have
this
to hit you up
restart
for that too. So Daniel Dye out in front. Again, he did not stop on the competition caution that we had around lap 20. Alongside of Gio Ruggiero, the Daytona winner, getting set to get back underway. Anticipated race break on or around lap 50. We're about 10 laps from there now, and Ruggiero gets a great launch on the outside of the front row.
He has a huge launch. He was a big mover on the last restart, and this is going to set up to be able to control the race here as he's clearing to turn one, 3 wide behind.
Yeah, Jade Evedizian jumps to the inside of Jack Wood. That's her in the blue and white car on the very inside of a 3 wide battle.
Jake Bowman in the 20 trying to work the side draft on Daniel Dye. He returns the favor at the end of the backstretch with Annunziata flirting with the third groove.
Yeah, Jade able to complete that pass on Jack Wood. It looks like it as we see this angle off the turn 4. She gets clear. You know, she was put 3 wide on that last restart. Quick learner and being able to use that move to her own advantage.
That's Laney Bice, that blue and yellow car on the inside of the racetrack. The Sunoco car, teammate to Jack Wood.
Annunziata really likes being on that high side, and it's been able to help him get some clean air on these restarts and be able to make up some track position.
While Ruggiero has been able to charge his way back up through the field since he stopped on that caution, the same could not be said for the driver who has led the most laps in this race so far, Jack Wood, who's mired back in 8th behind this group.
I think the toughest part about having to take the 2 tires is you don't really know. You didn't plan for your race car to be, you know, on the 2. You usually make adjustments for that. So I'm sure they're all kicking themselves and thinking about it as they're losing spots here after dominating early in this race.
They're trying to figure out how to get that other gun fixed.
Oh! Gavin Michelle brushes the wall off turn 2.
Looks like he's able to clean it up. These cars have composite bodies on them, so shouldn't be too worried about that contact. But obviously lost quite a bit of track position with that impact.
Yeah, the bodies. These bodies have memory. And you push them in, you get against the wall, then they bounce back out to where they were. Keeps the fenders off the tires.
When you're going to see that all weekend, this weekend at Kansas City, you know, this turn 2 exit, the track, the banking really falls away super quickly on exit. So he might have thought that he had the grip, but the grip goes away super fast as you go to that flat black straightaway.
Great job by Thomas Annunziata to avoid, as well as Jack Wood. Annunziata cut the car down low, so that way he did not tag the left rear quarter panel of his Nitro Motorsports teammate.
Boy, it sure seems like that when you get in the wall, that the wall just keeps you in there, doesn't it, Austin? You want to drive away from it, but you can also turn the wheel too hard and bring the back end around as well.
Nothing ever good has happened from hitting the wall, I can tell you that,
yeah.
Phil. See a nice little battle here going into turn 1. Laney Bice with a nice move, being able to clear, pull to the bottom, and get that position away from Ibizian.
It moves her up into the 4th spot.
While Jade is making her first mile-and-a-half appearance for Laney Bice, she actually had a fantastic run here last year in what was her ARCA debut, finishing 8th. So some experience certainly being parlayed into a solid result for Laney, while her teammate Jack Wood now is trying to follow her through on Avedisian in what is a fight for 5th.
And the thing to remember here is we do still have mixed tire strategies. You know, Jade's still on those old tires where Bice, obviously Wood got the 2 tires, but still a mix on strategy here. Same with our leader Gio Ruggiero. He's on the newer tires, so it seems to be somewhat of a difference. Maybe not on the initial restart, but as we start to get heat in the tires and laps done, the new tires still look a little better.
Yeah, and a couple cycles too for like Jack Wood's 2 tires and the drivers without 4 tires. And no, I think we're all going to be even here in about 5 laps when they throw the competition caution, the scheduled race break. Give everybody an opportunity to come down and get set up for the second half of the race.
So Wood up to 5th at this point, still shown as leading the most laps of this race so far at 23. With Ruggiero now exercising a 2-second lead over Daniel Dye. Jake Bowman 3rd, Laney Bice through your front 4. While we've been watching some of the racing happening up and around the top 5, one driver knocking on the door of the top 10 is Cleetus McFarland.
Here's a good view of Cleetus.
I think from every camera angle, we have stars and stripes on this man. The hood, the door, the gloves.
He's a bald eagle, isn't he?
He's a flying bald eagle, man.
BaldEagle.com providing us the in-car shot of Cleetus as he is trying to net himself another top 10 effort after having a great top 5 run in the ARCA East race at Rockingham. Last time we saw him in this style of race car.
He just continues to get better. We saw him in the O'Reilly race at Rockingham. I thought he did a credible job there. First time ever in the O'Reilly series, but he's really taking it on quick, and he's really learning a lot. A couple top 10s last year and a limited number of starts, and an 11th place finish this year at Daytona to start us off.
He's been getting a ton of great experience, and that's what it takes to be able to continue to move yourself up through the ranks and drive bigger and faster cars, and being able to do laps like this, there's no replacement for it.
He's got quite the fan base. How about over 4.5 million subscribers on YouTube for Cleetus and his team? Pair of Pinnacle Racing Group teammates starting to tighten things up in the battle for 4th. Laney Bice in a Sunoco represented 77. Jack Wood, the soon Chief PowerPex pole sitter for this race in the 28 car in 5th.
Probably just a couple, 3 laps away from our scheduled race break. I thought it was a good move by Daniel Dye to get track position to stay out when everyone else came to pit road on that lap 20 competition caution. He's held on to the 2nd spot.
Yeah, it's been a real mixed bag. I think it's been, you know, personally dependent on what your situation is, if getting tires worked or didn't work for you. So I do look forward to everybody being on the same strategy here, you know, starting in the spot where they deserve to be, so I can understand who's actually good right now. But no, it's, I think the drivers and crew chiefs would think the same. But, you know, getting that track position, we heard Bowman's crew chief talk about earlier, as he gets that side draft, get on the outside Laney Bice here for this 4th position, sorry. It's going to be important to be able to be set up, you know, with that track position for the final run to the finish here.
And Gio's car likes that clean air, a very fast lap. That last lap, Jack Wood was actually the fastest car on the racetrack that last lap.
I think that's impressive.
Better. Yeah,
I think that's impressive. It shows a lot about his car and the speed that they have to be able to do that still on those 2 tires.
And Wood will not be able to get around Jake Bowman after chasing him down before we hit what is going to be our scheduled halfway caution. Let's take a look at our Richmond Water Heaters mid-race report. As we said, we've had 3 different leaders up to this point in the race, and there's been a lot of moving and shaking.
Yeah, between all the different tire strategies and everything going on here, as we alluded to before the break, even just with the cycles on the tires, I think after this stop, this will be the first true read of who has the best car. And I think it's Daniel Dye or Jack Wood. It's hard to beat both of those guys right now.
And the restarts are going to be critical too. Who's going to get control of the race? Who's going to get that clean air? We saw Gio put some really good laps down when he got clean air. Jack Wood as well earlier in the race.
Just about every car on the lead lap comes down the pit lane for service. Very busy pit road. Let's check in with Amanda Busick.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and go to the 25 of Gavin Bochelle. He went into, let's start on the 18 of Gio Ruggiero. He said that he was near perfect into turn 3 to his team, but said he still wanted to get some adjustments for how tight he was going into turn 1. But a perfect Gio Ruggiero out there is going to be pretty lethal. As we go over to the 25 of Gavin Bochelle, they were looking at the damage on the right-hand side. They were going to assess before really doing anything. They wanted to go ahead and get the service done. A quarter round out of the left rear is what was requested, tires and fuel, but hopefully not too much damage from that wall after he got off of it. But as we go on, Caitlin.
Yeah, taking a look at the 77 of Laney Bice, very respectable showing so far out of her. This is her first of 5 planned races as of right now. She told me before the race, I don't feel any pressure going into this. It's all about learning for me, which she just said that on the radio. I want to keep making gains. And the team also earlier was urging her to commit to the top line as to not kill her momentum. Now that 24 of Daniel Dye, 2 previous starts at Kansas, but they were all the way back in 2022, but they both were finishes in the top 5. Right now, he had said the entry in the center is stable, but I don't finish the corner off of too well, but a great 3 and 4 for that 24 car, guys.
Thank you both, and now we're going to get to see what the field has on level footing for the first time since the start of this race.
Good shot of Ryan Vargas there. Solid start to the season. Going to be full time here for Michael Maples Motorsport. He's 4th in points, had a top 10 at Daytona. Talked to him in the garage area yesterday. He has a lot of experience, a lot of O'Reilly experience. He's raced here a few times in the O'Reilly series. He finished in the top 10 here in one of the ARCA races last year. But Caitlin, this is not his only job, is it?
It is not his only job. So what's interesting about Ryan Vargas, in his free time, he's actually one of the Monster Jam drivers driving the El Toro Loco truck, which of course is a fan favorite. If you go to those events, there's a lot of cheers for the Toro Loco Monster Jam truck. But he told me he just raced in Vancouver and he actually won in Raleigh. So he said, surprisingly, just being in any type of race vehicle, it does help me transfer over to other series in NASCAR. But a very cool side job for Mr. Ryan Vargas there.
I don't want to transfer what he just did over to this series, that little turnover there, Austin.
I wonder if he was smiling when that happened. I've never driven a monster truck, but I've always wanted to. I think everyone's always wanted to. And now Ryan does a great job, and he's got a lot of great energy, so it's cool to see him in the ARCA Menards Series and doing what he loves.
Talking to Ryan in Daytona, and that's exactly what he said. It's every kid's dream to be a race car driver, but it's also every kid's dream to drive a monster truck. He gets to do both.
I know my grandkids love those monster trucks.
Ryan having a good day so far, 13th in the running order. Bad news for Andy Jankowiak. He was busted for speeding on pit road, so he'll have to start at the tail end of the field for this upcoming restart. And our pal Squirrel McNutt got the free pass on this caution as well, so he will be back on the lead lap as well. One to go signal being given this time. Gio Ruggiero, the leader, now in the fall race here last year, our second to last race in 2025. This will be the site of the finale in 2026. Gio led the most laps there as well, but finished second to Butterbean on a late race restart. And Kansas has had a bit of a history of producing overtime finishes, and that was a trend that we saw roll into that race last fall where Gio came up one spot short.
Yeah, we saw Tanner Gray dominate this race a couple years ago in that 18 car, and late in the race, Connor Mozak chased him down in the 28 car and passed him and went on the victory.
As for the other part of that 1828 story, they're going to restart just a row apart and a lane apart. Jack Wood, the pole sitter, is going to restart outside of row 2, while Jake Bowman, the points leader, will be inside of that second row. Laney Bice, Jade Abedisian make up row number 3.
Well, I think we've got our best 6 cars in the top 6 right now, and I think this restart is going to be very important, but also at the same time, we had way more than 50 laps to go on our last restart, and we were 3-4 wide. And we're only going to keep ramping up the intensity for what that's going to look like. So very curious to see how these drivers manage this, manage the launch. You know, we saw Gio get a huge launch and give him control of this race last time. So I think this restart will be important for who's going to take dominance right here.
Good day so far for Nitro Motorsports. Only one car outside of the top 10 as we get set to restart. 41 laps to go in the Tide 150. Gio Ruggiero, Daniel Dye bring us to the restart. And Dye got the back end of the car nudged around by Jack Wood. That stalls him out a little bit on the top lane.
Yeah, outside lane stacks, big win for Gio Ruggiero. As you see 2 wide, 3 wide back behind him. This is what you love to see as a leader. And Daniel Dye with that bad launch really want to be able to still recover P2.
Gio's had 2 really good restarts, one from the outside and one from the inside.
Double wide about 3 rows deep with Bowman surging forward on the bottom to get around Daniel Dye for second. Look at Cleetus, top side 3 wide on the outside in the 30.
That's a big move.
How about that move? That's got to be a nominee there, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That gets Cleetus up to 7th.
Cleetus said it's time to go, like a bald eagle.
Jason Kitzmiller trying to get back around the 30 as they come off the second turn after an amazing 3 wide top side move on this end of the racetrack the lap before.
You're going to be seeing crazy restarts like this all weekend as it ramps up through O'Reilly all the way in the Cup Series. That's what makes this racetrack so fun. All the choices with the different lanes, and there's split-second decisions you have to make going into the corner, figure out what lane you want to run and how to carry the most momentum with it.
Nice run by Jason Kitzmiller. You see him right there in front of Cleetus. Jason holding down the 7th spot.
Well, we saw this move, and Phil, I think you're spot on. This is going to be our first Reese's Sweet Move of the Race nominee. Cleetus McFarland racing up into the top 10 and picking off spots, dusting off the wall in 3 and 4.
Yeah, just drove to the top and drove around. You see him driving around Annunziato, holding off Kitzmiller as well. Great move by Cleetus.
That's always a ton of fun when that clean lane opens up and you can just hang the throttle on as we run on board with Cleetus. Sees that top lane open up and just stays in the gas. Gets it clear, top of 3, and all you're listening for is that spotter tell you clear. You can go work on the next couple.
Don't forget, visit ARCARacing.com Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern, and see who is crowned with the Reese's Sweet Move of the race. PRG teammates door-to-door for 3rd.
Yeah, Laney Bice had a great restart. Meanwhile, Jack Wood, Daniel Dye, both 2 of my favorites for the end of this race are really stuck behind, got a bad restart and trying to recover at the moment. So big win for Jack Wood to get clear there, but bigger win for Gio being able to pull out a 2.5, almost 2-second lead.
Jack looked like he found some grip up there in that 3rd lane. Really made a lot of momentum there after he got by Laney Bice. Hopefully he can maybe make quick work of Bowman here and grab that 2nd spot and try to chase down Gio.
I think it's going to be really important for him to be as efficient as possible with this pass. Obviously a driver with experience in these cars and at this racetrack. So, and I'm curious, with the last run, we saw even with his 2 tires, he was able to kind of produce some long run speed and be able to make moves as that lane you're talking about there, Phil, being able to get that run off the top side, be able to get this side draft, try and clear Bowman with distance going into turn 3, get that pass done, set your sights on Gio Ruggiero.
Yeah, good racetrack for Jack Wood, too. 2 previous ARCA Menards starts, both top 5 finishes.
That's going to move Wood up to second. He's about a second and a half behind the Joe Gibbs Racing number 18. It's been a great day for the women in the field today, all of which running in the top 15, including this driver making her ARCA Intermediate debut, Jade Abedisian. For more, here's Caitlin.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk with Jade earlier today, and she told me overall she feels like the season has been a bit rough for her, but she's been involved in some things on track that aren't of her doing. And she told me one of the biggest learning curves is just how heavy these cars are compared to other race vehicles she has competed in. But she also mentioned the team. It's a new group of people coming together. She said, I think that takes time to get everything aligned perfectly. But one person she's leaned on a bit is a driver we all know in that Toyota fold, Trevor Bain. He has been very pivotal, she said, in helping her learn these cars. But the team, very complimentary of her today on the radio, telling her what a great job she's been doing. They've just been urging her to be a bit more aggressive, guys.
So far, she is having a tremendous day just outside of the top 5, and again, is her first experience of racing a car of this nature at this speed at a track this large.
And I love the fact that she goes to the top of the racetrack. Certainly, her background, open wheel racing, midgets, you know, they're not afraid of running against the cushion, and that does not seem to bother her a bit. But a great battle here between Cleetus and Isabella for the 10th spot.
Isabella Robusto on the bottom in the 55, Cleetus McFarland outside in the 30. Again, Isabella just hoping for some positive momentum. Unfortunately, this is the second consecutive year that she has had the first 2 races result in finishes outside of the top 20. She's been able to show her talent throughout the remainder of the season. She's our defending Bounty Rookie of the Year. 2025, she captured those honors, and this is the kind of day that she certainly needed.
It seems like Cleetus is trying to hang on to this track position here. Maybe Isabella's a little quicker, but he's running this high side, and once this high side does come in, right above that top seam as you see there, it's difficult to complete the pass, and I think that's what Isabella's fighting at the moment, trying to be able to get enough momentum to be able to clear the car on the bottom. But I think he's found a really nice line here with Cleetus running this lane, almost pulls down to the second lane. That's the lane usage you're going to see all weekend. I think really strong defensive driving by Cleetus here.
The thing I notice about Cleetus is I think he's just gaining confidence with every lap he runs, because obviously he was outside the top 12 or 13 early in the race, then moved up just outside the top 10. Now he is solidly up here in a battle for 10th.
He's got smooth hands too. It doesn't look like anything's happening that he's not expecting. You saw him dive down into turn 1. Nice little lift as he drifted up to the wall. 3 and 4, maybe more grip limited corner. And he's just wrapping that line, being very intentional with his inputs. And I think that's what you want to see out of him, and as he gains experience.
And now he's racing with some really good cars. I mean, Isabella Robusto is one of our very best cars, so he's up with the pack now.
His battle for third starting to intensify with 30 laps to go. Jake Bowman in the 20 ahead of Daniel Dye in the 24. And it may seem pretty long ago that we didn't see Daniel Dye up towards the front of the pack. He started way in the back of the field with the rulebook being set by owners' points from last season, but it seems like he's been up front all day long. Seemingly we forget how many spots that he's gained on the day, and he's trying to get himself one more.
Well, the way he charged through the field at the start of the race, I thought there was a good chance he was just going to run away with this thing. But right now he's struggling to make this pass with Bowman in traffic. He's kind of running that second lane, trying to fight the dirty air from the 20 car, and it's going to be difficult to set that up at the moment with where he's running on the racetrack.
Bowman had to go high to go around one of the Maples Motorsports cars down the front stretch. Here's Annunziata and Michelle having a tussle of it here. Check that, Annunziata and Kitzmiller having a tussle of it. This for 8th spot. Annunziata also committing to that top lane.
Guys, this is one of the cars that I've been keeping an eye on, the bare bones car. This is Monty Tipton. He's from California. He's actually an engineering student at UC Santa Cruz. He's hoping to be able to parlay this into a good finish and go on to Talladega next week as well. From the West Coast, ran a few West Series races, ran Phoenix, the National Series race as a combo earlier this year, but really doing a nice job. Has stayed in the lead lap this entire race, right now running 13th.
Paired up with Bruce Cook's team, who has run well here before with drivers like Patrick Staropoli and Marco Andretti. Monty the next to step into one of these race cars and put his talents on display. A very quiet day, just outside the top 10, but a great run thus far for Monty. Back to the battle for third. Meanwhile, the gap between the top two has started to close just a little bit between Ruggiero and Wood, as Dye continues to work the top side of 1 and 2 to try to close it on Bowman for third.
It was not too long ago we saw Jack Wood make that pass on Bowman, and he's been able to scoot away and get if anything, even closer to the leader, Gio Ruggiero. Meanwhile, Bowman's had Daniel Dye held up for quite a while here, not being able to make the pass on the 20 car, and that's created a huge gap from third all the way to the battle for the lead.
Jack Wood has gained a half a second on the lead in the last 2 laps. That last lap he was 0.3 of a second faster than Gio. The lap before that he was 0.2 of a second faster.
And we got a caution just as Dye tried to get a run, and it's Cleetus McFarland trying to hang on to the car.
That was a hell of a save.
Shut that motor off, Cleetus. Shut the motor off.
Second time that we have seen a car go up in smoke, and this time it is Cleetus McFarland who is running in the top 10 at the time.
What a tough break. Doing such a nice job. A solid top 10 effort. Racing with some really good cars.
Oh, and Andy Jankowiak appears to have some damage as well.
Yeah, I wonder if he put some oil down on the racetrack. Jankowiak was running behind Cleetus there on the racetrack, so bit of a shame. Heck of a save to keep that car still in one piece by Cleetus. You saw a lot of that in that Rockingham race, and he's got the car control thing down. As you see the safety crew looking at the car, and it's a back there with a
lot of damage for Andy J.
Jankowiak was running an 11 spot just behind Cleetus at the time of the incident. And a lot of damage there on the Kloss Motorsports number 71 after Andy and company were so enthusiastic about their chances for a good day coming into this race.
There we see him moving around in the car. Huge disappointment for Cleetus. Such a good run going. Hopefully we'll see him a bunch more. I know Talladega's on his schedule for next week, and hopefully we'll see him a lot more.
An unbelievable personality with an incredible following and a lot of car control. Maybe not in stock cars for a long period of time, but he certainly knows how to wheel a vehicle. And as you said, Austin, he proved it there, being in that position that you can't really train for. Having that much fluid on the tires, ripping around this racetrack and not getting that car to fully go around.
He's one of the best Crown Vic drivers we have in the country right now.
The red flag is out here at the Kansas Speedway after a chain reaction incident through the tri-oval and down into turn number 1. Collected 3 cars in total, including Isabella Robusto, who for the 3rd race in a row is apparently going to end early after they're being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Cleetus McFarland was running 10th at the time through the tri-oval when things went catastrophically wrong. Right at
the start-finish line, you're going to see the smoke right there. And look, immediately oil on the racetrack. Andy J turns sideways. Isabella hits it with the right front tire, goes straight into the outside safer barrier.
Yeah, really unfortunate for both those drivers behind, and obviously nothing Cleetus can do there with the failure. But it's a big hit for Isabella here at top speed, right front impact into the wall. Andy J trying to keep the thing under him. It's just a difficult moment for these.
That shows you how acute the angle is in the tri-oval here at this racetrack. When Isabella got her right sides in that oil, straight into the outside wall.
And Cleetus wrestled with that car for about a half lap with oil pouring down below all 4 tires. Take a listen.
He does a great job putting that car in neutral right away. And he's driving his tail off right now.
Yeah, so he sees the smoke, puts it in neutral, and pretty much from the moment he put it in neutral, he had to drive this car all the way through turn 2 sideways with the oil coming out of it. And as you see, that car's covered in oil. All that shiny stuff on the side skirts.
Look at it pouring out from the right front valence.
And not only was the right side of the car covered, but a lot of this racetrack is covered. Thus the reason for the red flag after that car had the issue pretty much at the start-finish line, and all the way through the exit of turn number 2 is what the track crew is working on to get us back into race-ready conditions. So Gio Ruggiero looking for his 2nd win of the season and his 2nd start of 2026. For more, here's Amanda.
And Matt Ross is his crew chief. This is their 4th race together. And we talk about the intensity of Gio. How do you describe his competitive edge?
He's always had it ever since he was running through for a different team before he came to us, and he was always somebody you had to contend with. It's great to have him here. He does such an amazing job in our cars, and obviously he's happy to be here. So we're doing pretty good right now. We'll see what happens after this caution, and hopefully stay up front.
Matt, I'm not going to completely call you out here, but when I got over here, you were on your cell phone with your spotter because you said people on the radio are nosy. What were you guys talking about?
I mean, nobody's really nosy. Everybody just wants all the information they can have. I'm the same way. So, yeah, we're just trying to figure out our strategy and see where we're at tire-wise and kind of make the best decision once we get going again.
I like the strategy.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. Now, we talked about Gio having success already this season with that victory at Daytona. And it wasn't a race that he and his team dominated by any stretch. He had to survive some carnage.
Yeah. Jake Finch was leading, had control of the race late in the race, got turned around there, and an ill-timed bump draft.
Came to the checkers with Jake Bowman and Daniel Dye chasing him down, but he started off his season with the victory at Daytona. Slated to run a lot of these types of racetracks for this organization in 2026, along with his full-time stint in the Craftsman Truck Series.
Doing a great job over in the Truck Series. New crew chief Jeff Stankiewicz calling the shots for Gio. He's had top three finishes already this season in the Craftsman Truck Series.
Gave up the seat for Max Reeves at Phoenix, who finished 9th in that race. We'll see Max more on some of the short track events throughout 2026 as well.
Talked to Matt Ross, his crew chief down in the garage area, and he was showing me pictures of his brand new baby girl he had in the last week or two.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I tell you what, it is an interesting point that Amanda brought up there with the race strategy here. You know, we're pretty much halfway through this stage, and we've only got 11 cars left on the lead lap. You know, you have a chance to take tires maybe, and is that the secrecy? Is there a chance to bolt those on? Is everybody else going to do it? Because you don't want to be the last one left on the old stuff. So I think there's definitely sounds like there's some decisions to be made from the crew chiefs here.
And one variance that we're going to see between today's race and tomorrow, the ARCA Menards Series does not have a choose rule in effect. Only the leader could pick the inside or outside for a restart. Everyone on the odd number position will start on the inside, even on the outside, just like the old school way we used to do it in the Cup Series. And that is going to matter a lot with the amount of speedy drive that they have laid down in turns 1 and 2. If you're running in 4th, 6th, 8th, you're going to be forced to restart in that top lane. You may have to tiptoe through 1 and 2 for the first time all day.
I'll tell you what, even this race still has about 20 laps left in it with green flag running maximum. I'm happy I'm not in Group 1 of Cup practice, because that speed drive is still going to be down. That's a lot of oil that got laid down there from the front stretch all the way through turns 1 and 2. And to your point, Aaron, I mean, these guys and girls are going to have to deal with this for many, many laps. And as wide as this racetrack is, a lot of the 3-wide racing we saw was in turn 1 and 2 on the launches of the restarts. That's definitely going to play a factor in what lanes you're running and what decisions you're going to make for this restart.
And the track crew's doing everything they can to help get us back underway. While we sit under this red flag, let's check in with the driver who's going to get the free pass by virtue of this most recent caution, making her ARCA National debut, Destiny Spurlock.
Yeah, we didn't test this, so let's see if Destiny can hear us. Hey, Destiny, Phil Parsons and the boys in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I got a copy.
Well, you're doing a great job out there. Good news is you're going to get the free pass, get put back on the lead lap here, up in the top 15. What do you think about Kansas Speedway so far with your limited amount of stock car experience?
So far, I am loving Kansas. I'm learning and getting better each lap I go around. I'll try, the high side, the middle, the low. I know what I'm working with. My team has been great. They've put me in a really great car, so we're going to go ahead and keep going for this top 10 finish.
Well, we love that, and we're going to be looking forward to watching you on your motorcycle, your drag motorcycle, your pro stock at the U.S. Nationals at Indy later this year on Fox Sports.
Yep, that's right. So if you guys love NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle, make sure you tune in.
Well, we appreciate you talking to us. Great job. Finish it off, Destiny.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Unbelievable effort for Destiny in this race. I mean, it's certainly remarkable to see someone who's not only new to tracks like this, but new to cars like this because of her past experience, having a great day and keeping that car clean.
I can't imagine riding on one of those drag motorcycles, man. I mean, she's a lot braver than I am. I can tell you. That's I'm stick to 4 wheels.
Yeah, exactly.
Cleanup continuing over in turns 1 and 2. Let's check in with Caitlin.
Well, Cleetus McFarland has just been checked and released from the infield care center. Carson Hocevar came down as well because he said he wanted to give you a hard time. I know this is not how you wanted this race to end, but just assess the whole day that you had here in Kansas.
Well, I mean, did you see that drift through the entire turn 1 and 2? That was awesome. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing that highlight reel of the baldeagle.com. Number 30. I mean, overall, I had a blast. I made 77 laps, so that's pretty good. I mean, if I would have blown the motor at 50, I probably would have shed a tear. But I made it over 75% of the race, so I'll call it a win.
Yeah, you got a lot to hang your hat on. What did you think of his performance here?
I thought he did good. When I blew my motor, I wrecked. So you did a good job. So I just think we've been hanging out too much. That you don't. Yeah. I've been trying to get you to race like me sometimes, but you don't have to do everything to the T. And blowing motors is something I've been doing lately.
You know, I've been getting a lot of pre-race advice from you, you know, once in Daytona actually, and then once here, and then I've been in single car accidents both times. Well, actually I didn't crash.
So I was going to say, when you rolled the top on the 70 down there, I was so proud. I was so proud that you actually looked like you somewhat knew what you were doing, and you've been here before.
I went, this is for Carson, and I turned in there on the wall. I felt like Kyle Larson ripping the top. Probably the coolest thing I've ever done. And, you know, overall, I'm sad to be out, but hopefully my sponsor, do you know what baldeagle.com is?
I sure do.
Okay, well, I'm hoping they don't drop me because it's the coolest website ever.
Well done, Cleetus. We're going to take a look at this pass we were just referencing once again, if you guys want to take a look.
In total fairness, watching this, if that was Kyle Larson, he would have fit up top of it.
I've ever seen in my whole entire life. God dang. See that? We're getting there.
Oh, you go to the top, and you just keep rolling it. You just keep rolling it.
When they go bottom, you go top, don't lift. That's pretty much what I did.
I'm so impressed.
I want to see the drift. Can we pull the drift up? People in the office?
People in the office, that would be our production truck, and you guys pull up the drift. They're going to work on that for you. It's very cool to see these two drivers interacting and recapping what they saw. I think we're getting ready to try and get this drift going for you so you can react to it as well.
Oh, dude, you got to 7th. That was past for 7th.
Oh!
That was past for 7th.
Oh! Literally like a bald eagle.
Did you see anything? Did you know where you were?
No, but I channeled my inner Ricky Bobby.
No, I thought what was awesome is you put the wheel back on and you're like, guys, we can fix it. Just push me to pit road. I was like, okay, now this is showing he's never done this before.
I was like, maybe they got an oil line in the pit box. Let's go back.
They're not going to put oil in it, back in it.
Hey,
it went up from somewhere.
Anything's possible, dude. I don't know.
There you go, guys. There you have it. That's probably one of the most spirited interviews I've had out of the care center in my whole career.
I've heard of producing from the booth before. Cleetus producing from the care center, calling the shots, trying to get a shot of that drift again. As we are back under yellow flag conditions in Austin, you called it. You said that this may be a point in the race where some of these teams could get creative with that extra set of tires. We're seeing it with some of the front runners.
Yeah, sorry, welcome back to the race. There was a lot done back there. But yeah, while they were finishing up, all the leaders pretty much pitted and went for the tires. So tires are good. Crew chief wants tires.
It looked like maybe Gavin Boschel, maybe one of our only front runners that stayed out that time. Everybody else in the top 10 came down pit road.
Well, as some of the cars rejoin the race, the bad luck stretch for Isabella Robusto continues. She's okay and with Caitlin.
Yeah, she's been released from the infield care center, part of that caution, but you had a very good day going. How would you characterize the race prior to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of got the car where we needed to on that last change and just racing hard, trying to get back up in position that we lost kind of at the start of the race. But super thankful for Mobil 1, Toyota Racing, and the whole Nitro crew. We definitely started on the backhand for the race, but I think we were getting to a pretty good spot there. And I think Cleetus' motor just blew up and kind of wrong spot at the wrong time and tried to turn out of the oil, but just didn't work out and ended up in the wall. So we'll look forward to Talladega. It's one of my favorite racetracks, so go there next weekend.
Thanks for your time. Sights are set on Talladega, where she had a very good run last year, guys.
Less than a half a lap away from what will be a restart with 19 laps to go in the Tide 150 at Kansas Speedway. One car elected to stay out on this caution. The leader, Gavin Boschel, on the 25. Gio Ruggiero leads the rest of the field. That all came down and put on fresh tires for this sprint to the finish, with Michelle the top lane, the control car, as they get set to hit the restart line.
Only 10 green flag laps on Michelle's tires since he stopped at lap 54.
We'll see if he can hold on. 19 to go from Kansas. Michelle spins the back tires. We're underway, and Ruggiero is to the lead.
That's going to give a break to Jack Wood, who was down on the inside behind Ruggiero. Look at Jack go to the high side of the racetrack.
Jack cuts to the outside, trying to get to the top side of Ruggiero in a battle for the lead, with Daniel Dye lurking down low in the 24.
Jade Abedizian's going to grab the 4th spot.
Ruggiero clear to the lead. Wood trying to toe the top side to get up to second as Dye slips off the bottom.
I think it was so important to emerge with second, whether it be Jack Wood or Daniel Dye, inside of 20 laps to go here to chase down Gio Ruggiero.
Laney Bice on the bottom. Bit of a slip there by Jake Bowman. Bowman's able to keep it off the wall, and problems for his teammate Thomas Annunziata, who is going to get a black flag for a restart violation.
Yeah, with that tire spin on the top lane by Bochelle, all these drivers are trying to get out of the way and can't pull out of line before the start-finish line, and get called for that every time, unfortunately.
So the 77 duck out of line, but got back behind what was the rear bumper of the car in front of her. Annunziata was not able to do the same before he got to the stripe.
Unscheduled pit stop for Ryan Vargas, was on the lead lap. Made a pit stop. He now leaves his pit back to the racetrack, but that will knock him out of the chance for a top 10.
Meanwhile, Annunziata stays on the racetrack, and here's the battle for the lead. These were the two cars battling for the win when we were here last fall, however, in opposite order. It was the 28 car out front, and he's trying to put it back there now with Jack Wood vying for the lead in 1 and 2.
Remember, we talked at the top of the show. I thought I said 34 of the last 42 races they've won, and here they are fighting it out again.
Wood trying to size up that run off of turn 4 as Ruggiero's car pushes up off the 4th corner, and Wood's got another run through the tri-oval.
Yeah, turn 1 and 2 is a very difficult pass to make on the bottom, especially with a couple laps on tires. Jack Wood's going to go try it again. Last time he didn't quite make it to the white line. This time he gets closer to it, able to hook that line.
Battle for 4th and 5th right there, and 6th. Here we are side by side going in 3.
Ruggiero going to try to pin some air on Wood's car. He gets right down on the rear spoiler, but it's not enough to stop Wood from going to the lead with 14 to go at the line.
I was really worried that Jack was going to get loose down there when Gio pinned that left front right to his right rear quarter panel, but Jack did a great job holding on to that car.
Daniel Dye trying to get into the mix. He's to the bottom and now past Ruggiero for second.
A tough couple laps there for Gio Ruggiero. Great move by Jack Wood to be able to pull that pass off, going down to the bottom in 1 and 2, finish it in 3 and 4, and Daniel Dye doing the same thing, following the footsteps of his teammate here.
Dye getting a good run off the corner as they'll come up on some lap traffic. That's Alex Clubb in the 0-3 that they'll work to the outside of. And being that these front runners have been so specific in the lanes they want to pick, traffic can be a huge factor in trying to size up what the best lane to run is on each end of the racetrack.
Daniel Dye was a little bit quicker that lap, about 8/100ths of a second than Jack Wood. Now Daniel's going to run the top of the racetrack, see if he can gain a little grip, a little momentum up there.
Yeah, they've dropped Gio here. This is clearly the race for the win. We saw Jack Wood in the last couple of runs. He's been able to have some pretty decent long run speed. So I'd be curious to see if that still remains the same with 12 laps to go. Seems to really like this higher side of the racetrack. I feel like that's been able to generate some of these runs and start to turn into be the dominant lane for the second half of these runs.
I think if you can get the top working, it makes that pass on the bottom a little bit harder. Jack was able to do it on Gio down here in 3 and 4. You see Jack ran the bottom down in 3 and 4. He's running the top down in 1 and 2.
Wood now going around Michael Maples in the number 99. Dye to follow. Next car they're going to come up on is Matt Kemp in the Maples Motorsports number 19. Great opportunity for him. Currently rounding out the top 15 as things run for Kemp.
Look at the left side of our screen there at the pylon. How about Monty Tipton up in the top 10? How about Destiny Spurlock running in that top 10 like she was hoping for?
And our buddy Squirrel McNutt running 12th, just one lap off the leaders.
There's Destiny right there doing a nice job.
Destiny, of course, able to avoid the incident that took out Cleetus McFarland, Andy Jankowiak, and Isabella Robusto, also benefiting from Annunziata having to pit to serve the restart violation penalty. Currently rounding out the top 10 with 10 laps to go in this race. Talked about Squirrel McNutt. He's been the beneficiary of the free pass a couple of times today so far, but as far as agenda, a clean day, check with 9 to go.
Yeah, we'll see him at Talladega next week.
Started back in 24th position. Just a couple of rungs shy of what could be a top 10 effort in his ARCA Menards national debut. Great run. Back at the front of the field, about a second is what separates Jack Wood and Daniel Dye. Ruggiero has fallen way back, 2.5 seconds off the leader. A dramatic shift for the 18 car, falling back from the leader still.
Yeah, we haven't seen that a whole lot in the last little over 2 years, have we?
These two drivers at the front of the field are putting on a rapid pace, basically matching each other's lap times. Meanwhile, they're about 4/10 quicker than Gio Ruggiero behind. Actually, Laney Bice faster than Gio by about 3/10. So whether if they made an adjustment on that last stop or, you know, didn't like the handle, maybe the track went away, but a really tough stint here for Gio. Meanwhile, Jack Wood being able to make that lead, you know, just a little bit bigger as he works lap traffic just a little bit better than Daniel Dye.
Yeah, these top two cars running some fast laps, as you mentioned. They actually ran their fastest lap after this most recent restart we had.
Dye had a bit of a moment a half a lap ago getting around Bobby Dale Earnhardt and Squirrel McNutt 3 wide to the top side. Cost them some time on Wood, who continues to keep that car glued to the middle of the track in 3 and 4.
Yeah, Jack's just counting the laps down, looking for that first win in this 28 car. We'll see Jack again next week at Talladega in this 28 car. He knows, Jack's been around long enough to know that you can't count this thing. We get a caution late and the whole world changes.
Yeah, with about a 1.5 lead, I think the lap traffic is going to be Daniel Dye's best chance as we see Jack Wood being able to still not lose momentum, run that top side. And I think they're pretty equally matched, but so far Jack's been able to manage this lap traffic just a touch better.
Yeah, this is just nothing short of amazing what this PRG team has been able to do. Mark and Jerry Webb own this team. Shane Huffman is the architect of the team. Stephen Dawson, the crew chief on this car. Laney Bice, the other driver, running 4th right now with
great run for her.
Terrific run for Laney Bice.
On pace to what would be a career best finish, and she's not done yet. She wants a shot at the podium. 2 for 2 in terms of top 10 finishes on 1.5 mile track. She's trying to go 3 for 3 in that stat column, and also trying to get herself up on the box.
This would be a difficult pass for her to make with both of these cars running this higher side, and being able to find a lower lane used is tough at this point in the run. But with 4 laps to go, and she's got a pretty big gap behind, almost 2 seconds or more over Bowman. She should have a chance to be able to go for it. She dives off into turn 3 and 4. Gave it a shot. Didn't lose a ton, but this lap traffic could help her as well.
It's Destiny Spurlock, the 66 that Gio's trying to navigate around right now.
Gio turns Destiny Spurlock around on the approach to turn 1, and she catches the car on the apron.
Save.
But
What
the
a
caution
save.
is out.
What a save.
Well, we're going to have an overtime finish. It's a shame for Destiny, but a hell of a save. But it's obviously a difficult spot to get contact. Top speed going into turn 1 and setting up an overtime finish.
Unbelievable effort for Destiny Spurlock in her ARCA Menards national debut while running in the top 10, getting tagged by Gio Ruggiero, who was doing everything he could to try to hold on to 3rd spot. Got the car completely broadside and used the apron of the racetrack to stop it from going all the way around.
I'm not sure why Gio ran in the back of Destiny, to be honest with you. I mean, he had plenty of room.
Yeah, I mean,
move around her.
It's kind of one of those things I think I'd put down to a communication issue, and that's one of the difficult things with working lap traffic. You know, what do you expect the car in front of you to do? And, you know, I'm sure we'll get a replay here at some point, but being able to work to the outside, work to the inside of whatever that lap car is doing. You're going to watch the 18 here. Destiny kind of leaves a lane to the top side, but I think Gio was thinking she'd go to the top, and I'm not sure that she really did anything wrong here, but Gio was hoping to get back to that outside lane and be able to hold off that position behind, getting that pressure from Lainey Bice.
We've seen a lot of good hands today. Destiny Spurlock with another Reese's
Look how
Sweet Race
sideways
nominee.
I mean, that's past 180 degrees.
she is.
ARCA
past
Racing.
90.
Yeah,
past
yeah,
90
exactly.
degrees.
Yeah. Sorry, Phil. Got my numbers wrong here. It was a great save.
Third straight ARCA Menards Series race at Kansas, where we will have overtime. Unlimited attempts at a green flag finish. With this caution coming before the white flag, it'll be a 2-lap shootout.
Yeah, we're going to get a green, the next lap a white, and then the finish, unless we have another caution flag.
Jack Wood, the control cars, picked the bottom. Daniel Dye to restart outside. Ruggiero and Bice, row 2.
Yeah, they're on old tires here. This outside lane has seemed to struggle all day on these restarts. Should be interesting to see what the launch looks like here.
The restart of Jack Wood's life right here.
And he's got some help. Everybody shoving each other off to turn 1. Ruggiero 3 wide to the inside on the apron for the lead. Bice 4 wide up the outside. Ruggiero muscles his way back to the point, with Wood trying to garner momentum off 2.
Now Jack's in the middle of a 3-wide battle for second. Oh, gets turned.
Gavin Bichelle and Jack Wood get together, and Wood's chances at a win are spinning around in turn 3. Gavin Bichelle, who pitted on the caution to put on fresh tires, was charging up to the outside. And Wood goes from leading us to the restart to now stationary in turn 3.
As we mentioned, unlimited attempts. We'll just re-rack them and do it again.
Oh, what a shame for Jack Wood. I mean, restart the race as a leader with a dominant car and end up sideways.
But we saw how fast that 18 car has been on the restarts. Don't know if it's maybe a different transmission, a different second gear or something like that.
Gio's just been super aggressive, being able to pull out right at the start-finish line, and he's made this 3-wide move throughout the race, so not entirely surprised to see it, but obviously, you know, 4-wide battle for the lead here, and you know, Jack Wood's kind of a sitting duck as you see the 25 car, as Eric mentioned, on newer tires, sees there's an opening on the outside, and yeah, it looks like Jack just thinks there's space there, and there's not, so can't really put a ton of blame there on Bichelle.
Unfortunate ending for Jack Wood, who appeared to be knocking on the door of what would have been his first career ARCA Menards Series win and his 20th start. Here's another look on the backstretch.
It just wasn't quite clear.
And if you're Jack, you're just trying to get back in line, get that draft, and re-rack again, try and have a shot for the lead, because that whole pack of cars did have a run back on Gio. So the race for the win definitely wasn't over yet, but obviously not room for their car to fit in that hole.
Yeah, and Amanda told us during the break that both Shane Wilson, his crew chief, intentionally stayed out when everyone else came to pit road, just for a situation like this, to have better tires than everybody else. Now he's up into the top 5 with the best tires on the racetrack, so it's going to be fun to watch. What a horrible break for Jack Wood.
It will not be back-to-back wins for Pinnacle Racing Group after capturing top honors at Phoenix with Carson Brown at the wheel. Instead, the PRG number 28 is going to be loaded up on the tow truck and brought back to the team so they could dissect and regroup with Talladega 1 week out. Wood led the second most laps of this race, 39, behind current leader Gio Ruggiero, who continues to parade the field. And he will now have the option to pick where he wants to restart this race on what will be a second attempt at an overtime finish.
I like that 18 on the restart. I like his chances because he's been so good on all these restarts.
Yeah, I'm not, and you bring up a point about gearing. I guess I'm not, familiar enough with the ARCA Menards Series cars to know what the options are there, but just seeing the restarts and now thinking back throughout the race, he's had some big launches where he's just gotten out front of guys, even when he's not been the leader. So to your point, I wonder if there's anyone in the field capable of contending with the aggression that he's been able to have out of the restart zone, whether that's been as the leader or as a trailing car.
Because we know his car was a little bit off. He was not near as fast as Jack Wood or Daniel Dye prior to that caution flag when Destiny Spurlock got turned.
Well, we've seen some incredible action here at Kansas. Let's look at the last 3 races with ARCA here at Kansas Speedway.
racing at Kansas. Connor Mosak takes the checkered flag. Connor led 14 laps today and, of course, led the most important one. Checkered flag in the air. Tanner Gray wins it.
Outstanding job by Tanner Gray.
Flawless on every restart, dominating the event. Brendan Queen wins.
A sweep of the heartland for Brendan Butterbean Queen. He wins. First driver ever to sweep both ARCA races in a season. The opportunity lies ahead for one driver to claim top honors in this race. And again, we will come back here in the fall to close out the ARCA season.
You want to see if we can talk to Daniel Dye and see what his plan is?
Yeah, let's see if he's willing to tell us.
Yeah. Hey, Daniel Dye, Phil Parsons and the boys in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Phil. You coming to me at a little bit of a precarious time, sir.
Well, we've been watching you do a great job holding that wheel there. We got a restart coming up. We're assuming Gio's going to take the inside. You got a plan here for this restart?
You make all kinds of plans in racing, and Phil, how many times when you were racing did your plans work out?
Most of them.
So, you know, just going to try to be adaptive here. I'm loving driving a race car. This is my favorite part of my life, is getting to be right here where I'm at behind the steering wheel. So I've really enjoyed today working with these guys. I thought I had Gio at Daytona, so I got to get him here at Kansas.
All right, buddy. Done a great job here. Finish it off.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You notice how he didn't answer your question, Phil? No, you know, that tells me he's got a plan.
Yeah.
See him execute it. It's it's a difficult thing on these restarts. We mentioned the dominance of Gio in the restart zone, but the draft comes into play at these speeds. You know, he's going to be in the outside lane here. Still got the challenge of launching in that outside lane, I think. So, and on top of that, you know, we don't know how much damage the 25 car has from some of that contact, but he's got the freshest tires. You know, what impact does that play? And meanwhile, Bowman, he's just trying to hold on the points lead.
Yeah, well, will the 25 push, or will he try to jump to the outside and use those fresh tires to get around?
Daniel brought up a great point. Those top three cars, that's how they were running when they took the white flag at Daytona. Bowman got up and around Dye coming off turn 4 to the checkers. But these three cars have raced around each other already so much this season alone back at Daytona. And now they're going to settle it in an overtime finish with Bichelle the variable on those fresher tires. With the damage, kind of a bit of a question mark to that car's performance.
Well, Kitzmiller had a great restart, got himself into the top 5. Meanwhile, Laney Weiss and Jaden fell back a couple spots as well. So a bit of an opportunity for all three of those to try and fight for a top 5 finish.
See, Destiny Spurlock holds on to that top 10 spot even with that slide.
Thomas Annunziata did get the free pass on his most recent caution after he served the penalty for the restart violation last time by. He'll start at the tail end of the pack, but nevertheless a chance for Annunziata to end the day in the top 10, or maybe better, depending on how this restart goes. So Gio Ruggiero, the control car. The Joe Gibbs Racing number 18 elects the bottom. Daniel Dye up top. Row 2, Nitro Motorsports teammates Jake Bowman and Gavin Bichelle. 2 laps to settle the Tide 150 here in Kansas. We're back underway.
See a bit of tire spin there from Daniel Dye. Gio Ruggiero able to clear him before the start-finish line, and these three are going to have to get in line and put up a fight.
And Daniel's going to dive in behind Gio. See, Laney Weiss grabs the 4th spot from Bichelle.
Bichelle back to 5th. Here's Gio trying to break the draft in the back straightaway with Dye now mounting a charge on the top side.
The tires have cooled off for these guys here. Gio's going to have a little more grip than he had prior to that caution.
White flag in the air for Gio Ruggiero. Was 1 spot shy of a win here last fall. Dye trying to close. There's never been a last lap pass in an ARCA race at Kansas.
He got a small run off the top side in 3 and 4. See if he can do it again here in 1 and 2.
Let's see what kind of block Gio's going to use here.
Bowman lurking in 3rd if something happens with the front 2. Final corner. Dye's got to run. Ruggiero washing up the hill, but it's not going to happen. Win number 2 of 2026 for Gio Ruggiero, who wins the Tide 150.
And it was all predicated by the previous restart. Not even that restart, the one before that, where he wrestled the lead away.
2 for 2 for Gio in 2026. His second career win, second win in a row after not running the Phoenix race. 53rd career win for Joe Gibbs Racing. '25th different driver to win at Kansas, and will give us our first repeat winner of 2026. 3 races in, heading back to a super speedway in 1 week's time. And at one point, this driver, car, and team looked like they were out of it. Nearly 2.5 seconds back of the leaders before a late caution fell, putting them back in the mix.
We just made mention that you never know on these races until you get to the very end, and that's exactly what happened. Jack Wood well on his way to his first victory, and that late caution put this guy in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the highlight for Gio is the restarts all day. He did the 3-wide move early in the race, did it at the end of the race, and able to execute when necessary in the box, and it's so critical at these types of tracks.
As you can see, Gio's pretty pumped about this win. He is burning down the house on the front stretch for the fans who have come out on a cool Saturday afternoon here in Kansas City. And his crew is about to meet him on the front stretch to celebrate his second career ARCA win with this team. A tremendous restart on the first overtime attempt, backed it up with another restart as a control car, and never looked back, fending off Daniel Dye to the checkered flag. Second time in 2026, we'll have a chance to talk to Gio Ruggiero as an ARCA Menards Series winner. First time he's able to capture top honors at Kansas Speedway. Celebration about to begin. Amanda Busick is in victory lane.
And his team has already made it as the water gets sprayed on Gio for his win here at Kansas. And Gio, you were on the radio quick to these guys, and you said, great job today. We had to fight for this one. I want to go back to that second to last restart, because I'm sure that's what the highlight will be. What is the secret to locking in when everything's on the line?
Yeah, you just got to do whatever it takes to win. So that's what I did. I mean, I really thought we had a really strong car, and I just couldn't let these guys down and lose the race. You know, my crew chief, Matt Ross, just had a baby, so needed to get him a nice gift for the win, and definitely, you know, executed on those last restarts and just did whatever it took.
That second to last restart was gifted to you from connecting with Destiny Spurlock out there on track. What was your approach to that?
Yeah, I was just trying to work lap traffic really aggressive to, you know, catch the leaders or try to run them down. Really struggling with a loose balance, but just kind of misjudged it. I think she turned down. I'm not sure if she was trying to go to the top or the bottom, so just got to work on that stuff, but happy to get the win.
Had to use a bit of muscle on that second to last restart. Gio Ruggiero celebrating in front of the fans here at Kansas Speedway as a now 2-time ARCA Menards Series winner. Been a great year for Gio, fresh off a third-place finish in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Bristol. Now has a win here. He'll try to continue this wave of momentum that he has stretched across both series. They're full-time and here in his select campaign.
Yeah, he'll be back in this car at Talladega next week. Try to make it 3 in a row for him.
Well, we saw some great driving all throughout the day and post-race as well. Here's another Reese's Sweet Move of the Race nominee, and it comes post-race with Gio Ruggiero burning it down.
He's using those rear tires up.
Put him to good use in the last stretch run to the finish. And they will carry him home to victory lane for the second time this season. ARCARacing.com, Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, to see who is crowned with the Reese's Sweet Move of the Race for our first stop at Kansas Speedway in 2026. Let's take a look at our unofficial results. Gio Ruggiero grabbed himself his second win. Daniel Dye a close second at the finish. How about Gavin Bichelle and Laney Bice, both grabbing their career best efforts, with the points leader having a solid day, grabbing a podium as well.
Yeah, just so proud of Destiny Spurlock for getting that top 10 finish. Monty Tipton as well with a top 10 finish.
Squirrel McNutt, 12th. What a great run for him. Kept the car clean all day. And speaking of Squirrel McNutt, he's with Caitlin Vincey.
He sure is. I'm very happy for you. Yeah, there was a lot of anticipation about how you would do at this racetrack. Yeah. What do you think of the day? That was impressive.
It was insane. I was struggling to figure it out in practice, but same thing with all of the tracks so far. Just getting in there and racing is where I did a lot better. Coming around people, watching people, learning from these guys who've been doing it their whole life, but it was insane. I had a blast.
Well done. Hopefully we'll see you soon, guys.